If you guys want to open both those PDFs, we're going to need that here in a minute. Okay, so we're going to be using MasterCAM, which is in the Quick Links folder on school server, on CAD Lab server, and under MasterCAM. So sometimes it doesn't always start the best, so you might have to start it twice, but try to start it just once here. It's under MasterCAM.
I was able to find it if you go to like your file and then you open a part file that's already just in there, then you can open MasterCAM. We have it, but there's no quick link to MasterCAM. And I tried just to search on in the toolbar kind of thing, and it won't pop up either. So I had to go a weird way to open it, but we have it on here. I just don't. It was weird to get to.
I don't know how you guys is end up different than mine, but so you don't have one that says MasterCAM right there, okay?
That's the one
What?
The chips that are in the printers, are they supposed to have software on them? Did you pull those out?
Some of them do, yeah.
Some of them do, because I
Yeah.
pulled 2 of them out in the hallway. They didn't have it.
Okay, yeah, well, they'd have a little globe on them if they've got it. Okay, let's see if we can find a workaround. You were able to do it by double-clicking on a file,
Yeah, if you go into your, like in the...
but none of them will have that file. So if you search on MasterCAM here, it doesn't show up.
I know I know mine didn't. But yeah, I was able to just go into the iDrive, go into yours.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like we got a workaround. Okay, so go into your file folder down here, okay? And then find the iDrive. Which is right there. And then go into technology. And down here, well, there's one of them for me, LKit in there. And where did you find it? Or
It was in the CAD, CIM, and then the MasterCAM. And then I just opened up the 9.1 starter entity. I just want to see if any of those would work. And that popped up right away. But there's no, I didn't find like the actual just start MasterCAM.
Okay,
So I was able to open that up and it popped it up. So.
Okay, so if you hit the starter entity right here, so it's under CAD Sim92 MasterCAM, and then the starter entity and double click on that, it looks like it opens MasterCAM. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because last semester it was up on all of these. And that was
Yeah, we've been having all those IS personnel were able to get a job anywhere they wanted in the country with coronaviruses going on. They could all work from home, so we lost quite a few of them. So we're having a little trouble. I still think we have one of the best IS departments in the country for smaller schools, but it's definitely we've had some troubles. So you want to hit yes there, and then hit continue. And it does take a while for it to load, but it should load eventually. Well, I'm glad you found that workaround. Wow.
I just wanted to see if there was like being open a part file on our server to work, you know.
Definitely is.
Yeah, no MasterCAM.
I just did this like an hour ago to make sure it all worked, and it worked. And I don't know, like I said.
Yours is fine. Yeah, yeah.
All right, so it should open this up eventually. I hope this is video. No, you do not. Otherwise, it's going to slow your computer down even more. Okay, so evidently that's that file. We don't want that file. So we'll go up here and hit File. And where is the close? I never use the close on this thing. File new, I guess. So File, and then hit new. Okay, everybody good? All right, now I've only got. I didn't like that. Did everybody get the error?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hit OK. Hopefully it doesn't kill us. All right, got that done, and then we're going to hit Is everybody locked up? Oh, for God's sakes.
Mine's been running just fine so far.
Okay, it finally caught up, I think. Well, it moved.
Mine's still frozen.
Mine just shut up.
Yeah, MasterCAM, if I remember right, it was pretty, anytime like you wanted to like render something or you save often using this program. I remember
Yeah.
last semester, you saved
So, if it kicked you out, open it back up. Okay. Same way. Say a little prayer while you're doing it, and maybe it'll work this time. Mine, if I gave it a minute, it caught back up. It locked up for a second while it was trying to find its brain, I guess. But it looks like I'm back in business, I hope. You can also download the student version. That's a big pain. And it's newer too, so it doesn't actually match our instructions perfectly. All right, is everybody good for the most part? Elizabeth, you'll catch up. All right, so we'll go to File here and go down to Configuration, and after you hit File, okay? And then down here, they're about 2/3 of the way down, you'll see a one that says Screen with a plus by it. Hit the plus. We're going to set up a few defaults. Okay, so the bottom one is View Settings. Pick on that. Where it says Rotate, hit Pan, so that way you can pan your view with your middle mouse button. It switches it to make it basically the same as AutoCAD stuff. You can spin with the middle mouse button and the shift button, same as Inventor. Then I go to Grid Settings, the third one up there. And where it says the bottom on the size of the grid is 25, let's just make that 1 so we don't have such a big grid. Okay, then hit the check mark. Very good. Most of you guys that are in the CAD program already had playing MasterCAM, but all the people in the MET department have not. Save current changes, just hit yes there. Okay, now we go over to the View tab. And up here it says Show Grid about 2/3 of the way over in the grid group. Okay, hit the Show Grid button. Okay, now you should see a little grid there, okay? All right, now I'm going to try to open up the instructions without locking up the whole computer system again for the 4th time today. All right, so Canvas. So what we're going to do today is draw just a simple like die that would represent like an axle or something like that. I sure hope this is recording. It looks like it is. Because if it's not, people online are going to have a horrible time. All right, so MasterCAM Lab is the one we're in. Machine spindle die. Okay, so this is the part we're going to machine. This is a drawing for that, so it's like a customer drawing that you have to basically write the MasterCAM program for and write the NC code. So MasterCAM is just a CAM software. All that means is computer-aided manufacturing, and so we've been writing all the G code so far on everything we've done, right? Every time we want to make the tool, this represents a 1/2-inch ball mill. Every time we want to make that thing move, we have to tell the X, Y, and Z and the G1 or G0 where to go, Well, there are programs to help automate some of that. They're not completely automated, but you can actually tweak some of these so they're almost completely automated depending on your machines you have and and the parts you type of parts you run. But the most popular CAM software in the world is MasterCAM. It works their sales network is tied real closely with SolidWorks. That's why their two are really powerful in a lot of machine shops around our area. Most of you guys probably know there are an insane amount of small and very large machine shops with Wapaka Foundry, Versatech. I think they were just bought out by somebody. Mattoon Precision. I don't know who's another one's got a bunch of big ones. There's Hydra Gear and Sullivan. So and those just off the top of my head. Those are the big ones, and there's 20 small ones. Okay, and a lot of them use MasterCAM. Like I said, some of them use other ones too, because there's literally 30 or more than that probably, but MasterCAM is by far the most popular, so that's the one we teach. A lot of times if you go work for these guys and you're going to do a lot of MasterCAM, they'll send you to do some additional training on this. And we do have a full class in it that you're pretty good at it by the time you get done, but this is just kind of your one chance to kind of see how it works. Okay, in this class anyway. So this is this drawing. So this would be like a die that you'd pour molten aluminum in. So this might be made out of some real hardened or concrete or something like that. And then you would basically pour metal in this or pour plastic in this to create a spindle of some sort. Okay, so that's kind of what we're representing here. And this is a part. These are instructions. So the instructions are written for a different part that I didn't really like. So we're going to draw this one and use the instructions basically to machine it. That's kind of the idea here, okay? Because that other one is really lame, and I know you guys don't want to do lame stuff, so that's why I tried to mix it up a little bit. So you can open it up. I always open all the parts in Chrome here separately. I don't open them up inside the canvas, but whatever you're more comfortable doing. So this is the part we're going to draw. It's kind of goofy the way the customer's got it laid out. Typically for a machine shop, it'd be better if they used ordinate dimensions, but they didn't. So we're going to have to play the game by doing this. So kind of the idea is in MasterCAM, first you set it up so that it runs the way you want, and then you start drawing this up. You usually draw the shape of, like with a die anyway, draw the shape of the part you want cut out, and then you tell it later how big the piece of metal it's going to get cut out with is in. And then you tell it what tools to use to cut it, and you set some settings on it. And then you do a virtual machine and make sure it works. And then you dump out the G-code. So that's kind of a lot of steps, but it really it doesn't take that long. So we'll definitely get through this today in this class, even with all the fun we were having in the beginning of it, I think. Okay. So I'll probably do a split screen here and go back and forth. Hopefully it isn't shrunk down too much. Okay, so one more thing we have to do on setting up our tools is setting up our basic MasterCAM. Go over to the Machine tab, top right, okay? And we're just going to use a default mill. You can go in here and select all kinds of mills, and you can download what they call a post from MasterCAM, so that works with about any machine, CNC machine that you have, including the ones we have here. Okay, but we're just going to use a default one though. So if you drop that down and pick the default button there, okay. So over here in your browser, that's kind of where we're going to set up some stuff later, not right now, but this is kind of where you tell it what type of machine, what stock, and all that stuff. Anybody have any general questions? Everybody else good? Okay, so drawing in MasterCAM is like drawing in AutoCAD, but tying one arm behind your back. Okay, it's a little bit goofy. Maybe because I was raised doing AutoCAD, but it just seems they did improve it lately, but it's still just, I don't know, a little weird. It's like they tried to copy AutoCAD, but didn't want to get any suit over copyright infringements, so they made everything a little harder. But so a lot of times what you do is you draw it in like Inventor or SolidWorks or AutoCAD, and then machine it from there, which it does let you do all kinds of files. But we're going to draw in MasterCAM just so you can kind of see how to do it. It's not real bad. All right, so go to the wireframe. So you can draw wireframe, surfaces, solids. There's a lot of ways to do it. We're going to draw a simple. We're going to draw like half this shape, okay, and kind of like we did with the chess set. We'll draw half the shape, and then we'll revolve it around the center line, okay? And then we'll kind of basically drop in this bigger chunk of metal, and then we'll machine it out of there, okay? So we're just going to draw the top half, okay? All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to pick line, okay? We're just going to draw this together. I'm kind of following these instructions, but they don't actually match for the part. So this, so you kind of see this real quick. So this is what I kind of talked about, all steps, right? And this is the part that these instructions are written for, but we're not doing that one. We're doing a different one, okay? So these first 10 pages talk about drawing that. Don't draw that one, because I didn't even give you the drawing for that one on purpose, okay? So we're basically, after we get done drawing it, we'll be basically starting on page, I guess, 40 here in a little bit, all right? So we're going to skip the first 40 pages, so I know you guys really wanted to go through 40 pages there, but we're not going to do it. Okay, so pick on wireframe and then pick line. Okay, like this, like getting started with AutoCAD. So the first thing it says is specify the first endpoint. So it lets you pick on the origin of this. So pick on the origin, okay? Now and move your mouse towards up, the up position. So what it typically works, the way it works is it wants, just like AutoCAD, it wants X and Y coordinates, okay? And this drawing kind of stinks as far as dimensions, so we're just going to have to kind of figure it out as we go. I'll show you some tricks on it. So hit the space bar, and that brings up the quick entry, okay? So now you're basically typing X, Y, absolute points. Okay, so we started out right here, this little point here, okay? And we're going to go straight, ignore all the radiuses for now. We're going to put all those fillets in later. We're going to draw a line up, over, down, over. Then we'll put the circle in here. We'll draw a line tangent that at like 30 degrees negative and 30 degrees positive. We'll set a line over, and then we'll be done. That's kind of our long range plan. Right now we have to get up to this corner, okay? And you can see it's 0.35 high. So what number would I type in there for my X and Y? Or if I'm 0.35 high on absolute. We start at 0. Yeah, 0, comma, 0.35. That's right. See that? So we're just going 0.35 high. That's not too bad, right? Now just hit enter. Okay, so we got that first line done. So now pick on, we're still in the line mode here, okay? So it says specify first endpoint again. Pick on the left or the top of that line. We're going to draw the one over here. Now,
How do you go back?
zoom out a little more. Hit undo. And hit undo. Yeah, so if you mess anything up, you can always pick the object, hit the delete key on your keyboard. There's an undo here. You can always start again, okay? So if you mess anything up, just undo it and start again. Or hit escape and delete what's wrong and start again. Okay, so now we're drawing the next line. So now we're drawing this little piece right here, okay? Is everybody good? Lose anybody on the way? If I lose the way, stop me now, because we're going to be, you know, it's really it's hard to catch up later, okay? Especially right now, the instructions don't match. So, all right, so we're going to go from right here to right here. So this says it's 0.75 up, and we're already 0.35. Or I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up. We're 0.35 up, because we're 0.35 up right here and 0.75 over. Okay, so hit space bar again, okay? And we're going to type in 0.75 for our X, comma 0.35, because we're still at 0.35. Okay, enter. All right, so now we got the next one drawn. All right, now we're going to pick on the end again, so we're going to keep on doing this. Okay, now this one gets a little trickier. Okay, so this one says you got to either do the math in your head or let MasterCAM do the math. I'm going to show you how to let MasterCAM do it, so it's not so hard. We're still at 0.75 over. We haven't gone any left yet, but we're going to go half of 1.8 high, so 0.9. So type in spacebar and 0.75, because that's where we're at right now, comma 0.9. Okay. Okay, so now we're sitting at this corner. Now we pick on the next one and keep on working our way around. Okay, now we need to go 0.75 plus 0.75, right? So we go space bar, so that'd be 1.5, right? 3/4 plus 3/4 is 1.5 inches, right? So 1.5, comma, and we're still at 0.9 tall, so 0.9. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go down. So pick on that end again. And this gets a little bit tricky. So I'm going to let MasterCAM help me. And this is kind of, we've done this in other classes, so you kind of learn how to do it. So hit space bar, okay? And we were at we're still at 1.5. So we type 1.5. That's our X. It's hard, it's easy to get your X and Y slip here, comma. And then we're at 0.9 minus Where's the distance there? Yeah, it's 0.45, so I probably could have just done but 0.9 minus 0.45, which I could do that in my head, it's 0.45, but anyway. So you type in 0.9 minus 0.45, and then hit enter, okay, which was 0.45, okay. So I did the 0.9, the height where I was, and I subtracted this part of it out of there is where I got my numbers from, okay. Okay, now we're going to have to draw a little bit of construction line type stuff to get things done. So pick a line, we're still on line, never mind. So pick on the end of that line again, and just draw it way, way, way over here to the left. Plenty long, like that. Okay, I know it's not very long, but we need one pretty long over there. Okay, so now, a lot of times when you have circles in an object, you can use that to help draw the pieces, and this is another example of that. So there's a 3/8 circle that represents all this right here. It's kind of hard to see because they've got this dimension line right up to it, but it's a 3/8 radius right there. And the center point's right here on that line we just drew, okay? And it's 2.875 over. So we're going to offset this line 2.875 over, extend it up to here, and that's where our center point of that circle will be. And then we can do our little lines off this after that, because they don't give you a lot of dimensions for this. Okay, so offset is over here to the right. It'll say offset on your screen. Mine shrunk down. Just pick the offset icon. Okay. Okay, and it wants to know right off the bat how far, just kind of like AutoCAD. So 2.875, 2 and 7/8. Okay. Okay, but then it says select line or arc or curve. So select that farthest line to the left, the vertical one, right? And then it says indicate the side you want it on. So pick on the right side. Okay, but it should show up over there. And then over here, well, the way these check marks work up here, the green means you're done, the blue means do another one, the red means get the heck out of it, right? Cancel. So we want green, we're done. Okay. Now we're done doing some of that. Let's hit escape, okay? All right, so now we need to extend that up to that thing. So let's pick the drop down arrow by the trim brake extend button over there in the modify group. Okay, and one we want, I should just pick the icon. So pick the trim brake extend. I should just pick that type icon. At the very bottom is extend. Okay, change that distance to like 1. Okay, and then pick on the top of that line, and it'll make it like 1 inch taller. Hit check mark. Okay, so I just extended it 1 inch taller. So pick extend, change it to 1, and pick the line. Hit check mark. Everybody good? All right, you guys are doing great. Okay, now we got a center point to draw that circle out. All that work, just draw a circle. All right, so pick circle, and this is pretty similar. Pick your center point, which is that intersection right there. Okay, and then go over here where it says on your browser, where it says radius, and type in 0.375. Okay. All right, now we got a nice 3/8 circle, or 3/4 circle. Hit the check mark there. All right, so now we get to draw the rest of this fun here. So this is kind of difficult to draw this crazy line here, but we'll try to get it to work one way or another. Well, I don't know where I stopped the recording at. I think I stopped the recording at that circle, so I'm going to do this, back it up a little bit here. Show that. So bear with me a second here. So basically we were here on the recording, so I hit a line right here. I switch it over to an angle of -30 to do the first one. Switch the length over to 2, okay? And then I try to pick on the circle roughly where it's going to go, pick the one I want to keep, okay? Hit the blue check mark to do it again, switch it over to 2, or pick in the 2 box, pick 210 for my next one, pick on this side, okay, pick the one I want to keep again. I did pick 2 there again, hit check mark, okay, and then I went to offset and picked 4 inches, pick this object, pick this side, check mark, that's done. Okay, now I trim it up like crazy. So trim, break, extend, and make sure you're on divide, delete, and then get rid of all the extra stuff. Pick divide, trim, break, extend, and then pick divide, delete. Okay, so it should look like that when you get done. Everybody good? Okay, so we've got that done. Last thing we need to do is let's fill it all, or not the last thing, but let's fill it all these radiuses. So everywhere there's a sharp radius, it's supposed to be, it says 0.125 typical. Okay, so pick fillet here, okay, and change the radius size to 0.125, so it's an eighth. Yeah, fill it in. Just pick the top icon there. Okay, change it to 0.125. And then every sharp angle, just pick the lines. You pick the part you want to keep typically, okay? So you always pick the part you want to keep. That's standard design flow. I'm just working my way around this thing. There's nothing, you know, that big one you leave alone. Where it's already got a radius on it, don't touch that one, of course. Okay? When you get done, it should look just like that thing. Pick the part you want to keep. So if you make a mistake, just hit escape, hit undo, and try again. When you get it all the way done, it looks like that, hit the check mark. Yeah, pick the part you want to keep. Okay, everybody get that to work? Everybody not? All right, so let's pick a line across there. Okay, so pick line again. We got to put a line across the middle for our line to do our revolve. Okay, so draw a line right from the origin straight over to the other side. All right, and green check mark. Okay, so we've got this thing drawn now. We really shouldn't need this anymore until we put in the rough stock, which is 2.5 by 4 by 1. Okay. So it's roughly the same as what they say in here, but remember when they tell you to set up the stock, remember it's a little bit different. Okay, so we're on page, so open up your other PDF, okay, and follow along in there. And I'm going to do it with you. If you want to move ahead, if you're going faster than me, that's fine, but basically I'm following along through this till we're done now, okay, except I'm just imagining my shape matches the one they're doing, but it's really, really close to the instructions. All right, so go to page 40 if you haven't already, creating the revolved surface. Okay, and you can watch me do it if you want, if you're more comfortable doing that, or you can just go through this, whatever you're more comfortable doing. So the first thing we got to do is we've got to do this revolved surface, okay? So we're going to do surfaces. So at the top left here, pick the surface tab, okay? And pick the revolved icon. Okay, and it says select profile, okay? So in MasterCAM and AutoCAD and some other ones, but not so much in AutoCAD, they have things called chains where it basically links a bunch of objects together, okay? Well, we want to go all the way around, but we don't want to revolve this center line. We want to revolve the rest of it. So down here, there's a partial chain. It looks like 3 links or whatever. Pick that thing, or the 2.5, 1 full and 2 half links. Pick the partial chain, okay? And then go up here where it says C plane. So that just means on the construction plane where we're drawing in 2D, okay, not in 3D. So pick construction plane there, okay. Okay, now we're going to pick on this very first line that we started drawing. So pick on that thing, okay. Now if your arrow's going the wrong way like mine is, there's a flip-flop button here over there, and the browser says reverse. Make sure you reverse that thing, okay, because it needs to be going up to the last one, okay. And then I'm going to pick on this last one that we did, okay, not the revolving line, but the last other one, okay, and make sure it's going down like that, okay, just like in the picture here, okay. If it's not, flip it. I think that one will be right no matter what. All right, everybody get that to work. All right, then just hit the green check mark bottom left. That's done. So it's selected what part to revolve. Now it says select the axis of rotation. So just grab that middle line that we drew. Okay, and you kind of see it happen there. All right. So we've got that all done. Over here in the left, we're in the surface revolve. Switch it to 180 degrees. So we only want half of it. Okay. And on it, make sure you pick direction 2. Okay. Okay. And then you can, while you're in here, you can right click and pick isometric, or you can hold down the shift middle mouse button like we do in other classes. Okay. You want to just probably easier to pick right click and hit isometric. Takes it a second to pop up. So isometric. So now we're seeing in 3D. All right, is everybody else good? Okay. Yours should look the same in mine. If you get it out of whack, just, I think we're ready to hit the check mark. Yeah, hit the check mark now. Okay. Okay, so that thing's all drawn. If you get it out knocked out of whack, you can just always hit right click and pick isometric. It'll straighten it out. You can notice there's a top, front, and right view as well. Okay, and a bunch of other views in there as well. All right, so we've got that done. It tells you to go to wireframe and then shaded and back to wireframe, I think. Mine's already shaded, so I'm just going to go to wireframe, which is in the view tab. Okay, and then I'm just going to go to wireframe so I can kind of see this everything a little bit better. And it doesn't go so slow. Okay, and appearance. And there's underneath here is the shaded, outline shaded like we typically use in a lot of other software, but just use wireframe. Okay. You're stuck with the color you get, buddy. I don't know. It's probably a different something with the server. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore all that color crap. I don't really care what colors they pick. It takes too long. All right, then we go to, they want us to delete that center axis. Okay, so I'm just going to pick that center axis like that. Okay, and hit the delete key on my keyboard. It's gone. Make sure you pick the center axis. Don't pick anything else. Okay. You pick on it and hit delete. Hit the delete key. Delete key on your keyboard. Sometimes the delete keys been beat on so many times around here they don't work all the time. So the book tells you how to delete it the other way. But right there. Okay, so now we're going to create some boundaries around this thing. Yeah, I think we have to do this or it doesn't work right. All right, so task 5, change the color to enable better visibility. That's boring. Here's the initial geometry. I don't think we need to do. I guess maybe we better do this just to make sure we don't have any problems with 7 people in here. All right, so on the Home tab, okay, and down arrow for wireframe color in the attributes section. Okay, so there's the color right there, I think, and hit the down arrow. Okay, what color does it want us to pick? Standard red. Okay, so there's a standard red right here. Okay, I hit the drop down on the left one. I'm picking standard red. Okay, and then mirror the initial geometry to the other side. Okay, so now we need to mirror it over to the other side. So we're going to go basically to the transform group here. Okay, transform button or transform tab. Sorry. All right, and pick mirror. So this is like this is kind of like the modify thing. You can move, mirror, rotate everything. So pick mirror. Okay, and then there's a little thing down here at the bottom right for advanced. We want to pick the upper half of that little circle. Okay, so that's like our advanced object selection. So pick that. All right, and it's on all entities already. We don't want all entities. Down here where it just says entities. Okay, pick that little checkbox on the entities one. All right, and then we just want the lines and the arcs. We don't want all those 3D surfaces. So pick the lines, hold down the control key, and pick the arcs. Okay. All right, and okay, so I think that's all. Now you might not be able to see it. I can't see it on my laptop, so I'm having to move that user interface up so I can see my check mark. Okay, so in the little user interface box, there's a check mark at the bottom. I have to move it up. Hit that check mark and hit the end selection. So we selected everything. So hit end selection now. Okay, now it's going to ask us probably. Okay, it's already on copy. On X offset. That's already all done. Okay, now once it's changed more colors. So where's the advanced? Okay, so the advanced tab right here, thank you. And once this is changed to a new color, I guess. Or we gotta hit new attributes here. Okay, hit new attributes. Okay. Oh, a lot of buttons there. Okay, and now we click the check mark. All right, so it should have mirrored that over there. Okay, because it basically used the x-axis for the button or for the mirror line. Okay. All right, everybody good? Everybody get the second one to show up? Basically got the thing all the way around there now. Okay, this is a good place to save, I guess. So I'm going to go down here and hit File, Save, and save it somewhere in your U drive. Hopefully in Sim60, right? And you can call this thing whatever you want. MCAM is what I'm going to call it. It's the only one we have in here is MCAM, MasterCAM. Okay, save. Okay, so we got that done. That was really the hardest part. Probably a lot of the rest is just kind of following instructions on this. Let me get through it pretty quick. All right, so we need to define that rough stock again, okay? So that size again was 4 inches wide, 2.5 inches tall, or high or whatever, and 1 inch thick, okay? So we'll be there here in a second. So over here in our browser, where it says, everybody got it saved? Okay, So over there in our browser group here where this says toolpaths area, expand the properties in our little browser area here, okay? Expand that properties and pick stock setup. Okay, so this basically tells you how big a chunk of metal you're going to take it out of. And there's a bunch of settings in here, so I want you guys to look at this page and do it. Or I'm going to do them all, but it's easy to miss one. So make sure you don't miss any. If you want to go along with me as I do them, that's fine as well. But I'm going to turn the display on. And I'm going to go over here to the sizes, and I'm matching what it shows right on that screen. 2.5 on the Y, and I'll make it 4 inches on the X. Okay. Well, I better look at my picture. I think that's wrong. Yeah. So 4.75. Okay. Yeah, so it's a little bit bigger than the one in this picture because, so for my X, I'm making it 4.75 like it was on the actual example. Okay, see how it's 4.75. Okay, and then again, it is 1 inch thick for my Z. Okay. Don't break it, James. Now we go over here to XYZ, and it's negative 0.4375, just like it shows there. So 7/16 negative. So this is where our X is going to be, negative 1.25. Make sure you put a decimal in there. It is 1.25, and my Z is just 0 like it was. Okay. And this is very important. Okay, so you actually have to pick the spot for the origin. So as you noticed in the picture, the origin point beginning is at the top left corner. Okay, so make sure you pick that top left corner right there on your little cube thing. Because if you don't, it will not be right. Okay, I'm going to shrink that back down. Okay, so now we're going to continue on and tell what kind of metal and stuff like that. So we go over to our tool settings tab. All right, and we tell it the default program. So we're just going to tell the program number's 9. I don't know. I think this was lab 9 is why they picked that number. And then we go over here to the tool path configuration. We're going to select assign all tool numbers sequentially, so it does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to warn if we accidentally call tool number the same thing, because that's a bad thing. Of course, you won't want a 3/8 being tool 4 and a 1/2 inch being number 4. Down advanced options have override all that stuff. Override the clearance height, override the retract height, override the feed plane for our tool. That's all the places the tool's going to be. Okay. For our program, we're going to go ahead and start at 1. The sequence number start at 1 instead of 100. And we're going to go in increments of 1. We're not going to go every 10. So those are our N numbers. Remember how you have N1, N2, N3 when we wrote it by hand? That's what it's doing there. Nothing real fancy. It would work without that. But all right, down here where it says aluminum 2024, that's aircraft aluminum. It's very hard to machine. So we are not going to use that. We're going to switch it. So I think we pick select. I always usually mess that one up. Yeah, pick select. And then we go where it says mill current, drop that down and pick mill library. Okay. And let's pick 6061 that we usually get. Okay. Aluminum. Check mark. Okay, we've got our everything set up here. I think we hit the check mark at the bottom of the user interface. Okay, but now you should see your block of metal in there, and it's pretty much centered on there, pretty close anyways. And you can kind of see what's going to happen. We're going to cut all that out here in a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't put one of the Z over there on the. Thank you. thought we were doing it after the fact. So we might still.
Look at the example, let's see if yours matches it. This is 4.75, that should match it. So, this is currently,
I feel like it's so.
you forgot to switch the direction when you rotated that.
Everybody else good?
I'm still with the. Should work.
Everybody else good?
Now it's a little bit.
If you guys want to keep on working through the instructions, go ahead and do that. I'll try to catch up.
All right, so we got that done. Okay, so now we should be at rough the pocket using OptiRough. Okay, so up here you go over to Machine tab. Okay, I'm sorry, Toolpath tab. Toolpath tab. Okay. And in the 3D gallery, your screen shouldn't be shrunk down. You should be able to see OptiRough right there. Pick OptiRough, okay? All right, so double click on the 0 numbers where it says machine geometry, where it says wall stock and floor stock is 0. We want this is going to be a rough, so we're going to leave 20 thousandths on there. So double click on that and type in 0.02 on the wall stock, and double click on the floor if it doesn't change. Mine changed, okay? Changing both to 0.02, so you got 20 thousandths left. Okay, and then at the bottom of this, bottom of the machine geometry, make sure your bottom of the machine geometry there's an arrow. Pick that arrow, so we can go pick the entities we want to go around. Okay, and now we go over to that same little double circle thing at the bottom right. All right, and you pick the top of it. Select all advanced. Okay, so now it's basically going to select the whole boundary around this thing. I don't think we're going to have to pick actually anything. Yeah, so now we basically, down here, we hit the check mark, and we hit the check mark again. Okay, selection. And that's basically going to pick everything. That's going to set our boundary to go around it.
Whenever you hit that arrow, when you advance settings, where would you go after?
Mine didn't do it now. Okay. Yeah, what's that?
Whenever you're done.
Hit 2 check marks. This check mark and then that check mark. Did you stick it
Oh, you hit selection?
Yeah, hit the inflection. There you go. Everybody good? Okay.
All right, so the next thing we have to do, we're still doing okay time-wise here. Next thing we have to do is select the toolpath control page, okay? So right over here, the toolpath controls the next one down, all right under model geometry, okay? And now we're going to select the boundary chains. It's going to try to lock the tool inside that, those lines we have that represent this part. So hit the boundary chain, okay, or boundary chain arrow. Okay, now we got to be kind of careful here. So it's kind of the same thing. We hit C plane here, okay, and we're not going to pick a partial chain. We're going to pick the whole chain. So don't hit anything besides C plane. Okay, now it shows you where to pick right there in that little thing right here. So we want to do the same thing on ours. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to pick right on that last little line. Don't pick anywhere else. Pick on that last little line here. You should get an arrow going all the way around it. And I don't think it'd really matter too much which one you pick, but. Nope, I don't think it matters. Okay, well, let's double check that before I say that. Yeah, you just hit the OK after that, so hit the check mark after that. So now we got to go up here and now we're in the same screen as we were before. So now we have to set all these settings on it. Okay, so we got it starting from the top going down. We got to stay inside. Okay, all right. And then on the compensate, we're going to compensate, which means how far it is off center to the inside. Okay, and then you should notice your tool is now on the inside of the part, that's basically going to mean it's going to run on the inside of that line we just picked. Okay. So I didn't have to include a tool radius, it was already turned on, okay? All right, so we're going to keep working our way down over here. So now that one's done. So now we go to the tool. We're going to set up tool. Everybody good? Okay, so we're going to go to tool and we got to pick our tool. So it tells us we want to use a 1/2-inch bowl end mill. So a 1/2-inch bowl end mill is the same thing as a ball end mill, except the radius is a little bit smaller. So it's not perfectly round on the end. It's just got an 1/8 of an inch radius on the end of it instead of like a 1/4. So we want to find a 1/2-inch bowl end mill. So go to the select tool library there, that big blue button, right? And you're looking for a 1/2-inch bowl. It's way down there probably. And I don't know how far, over half it looks like. Look for bowl. You're looking for the word bowl. None of us in here are full of bowl, but anyway, that's what we're looking for, okay? So as soon as you find bowl, you're down. If I would have known the number, which I didn't, I could have typed that in, but I didn't know the number. So it's down around 340, okay? And there's 1/2-inch bowl. And we got, don't pick the first one. The first one's not it. So we want it's the third one down. The 1/2-inch bowl. You'll see over here it says corner radius, COR radius. That's 0.125. That's the one they want us to use, okay? So 1/2-inch bowl, it should say 0.5 and then 0.125. 346, that's right, thank you. So 346, and then just double click on that thing and it'll select it. Okay, so now it's turned on. All right, now it wants to change all the speed. So we're gonna make this thing go 12 inches a minute. So just change the feed rate over to 12, change the plunge rate over to 12, change the retract rate since it's not cutting anything when it's pulling out. Change that to 50. It wants us to go 2,500 RPM. On the spindle speed. Make sure rapid retract is already selected on mine. Yours probably is too. Okay, so our tools all set up and speeds are all set up. So that's base setting of our tools. So the idea about this is you set up the same information you would on when you're writing your G code, except you don't write any G codes, which is pretty nice. Okay, I think we're probably on the next one. Let's go to cut parameters. It's a little ways further down there. So it's just do you have your PDF open? What does it say it is? It's like 327. It really don't matter. Just type in 327. Okay, so now we're on cut parameters. So what this is like a little bit how much it's going to step down for every time it goes around. Okay, how much it's going to travel down each time. All right, so we want to hit step up. That's the first one. And we're going to change all those numbers to match. Okay, so I hit the step up button, and I'm going to type in 10 for the step over. And these are all like percents, how much it's going to step over. And I'm going to type in 50 for the step down. And I'm going to leave it at 10 for the other one. And then I'm going to go over here to percent of tool diameter. That is already clicked, and I didn't have to change it. Mine stayed at 500, so I didn't have to do nothing there. At the very top here, in the drop down, it says by depth. We want to switch that to next closest. So it always goes over to the next closest on. Now by depth, they'll probably do the same thing on this simple part here. But okay, and down at the bottom says minimum tool radius. Change that to 5. For the micro lift distance. I left that at what it was, 0.01, like I said. And the back feed rate, I changed to 300. Okay. I'm double checking my numbers. This is just how fast it's going to, or how much it's going to overstep everything so you don't have lines all over your part. Okay, so we got that one done. A lot of pickings in there. Okay, now we're going to go to the transitions. Okay. And I don't know if I changed anything into this thing at all. Nope, everything stayed the same. It looks right. You were looking at all of them, but I don't see anything changed there. All right, then the next one we go to can't quite read that. Steep and shallow. I don't think we changed anything in that either. Leave that alone. Okay. Then we go to linking parameters. Okay, so linking parameters. So this is how the total depth is going to go. Okay, so where the tool is going to look like clearance planes. So put 1 there. So it's going to go 1 inch above the part. Always when it's moving. Didn't have to change. I think it's. So where it says fitting down here, the bottom right, switch it to machine entire pass. Okay, instead of minimize trimming. I think those are the only things I had to change. Full vertical retract was already right. Everybody good? Okay, so now we're going to go to the arc filter tolerance. I don't know if we changed anything on this. I guess we do. So the total tolerance changed that to 0.5 instead of 0.1. Or 0.01, I'm sorry, so 0.05. The cut tolerance, we're going to make that 40%, so 40. And then we're going to pick line arc filtering settings and change that one from 5% over to 60. And I noticed there that fixed the other one. Okay, back to 40 now. They want us to pick X, Y, X, Z, and Y, Z. So create arcs basically in every direction. Okay, I think we got all them. Some of the once more you gotta watch is what changing one number might change another one. So you got.
If you change that one to 60, it should fix it. This one here. Yeah, you put 60%. There you go.
But nothing matches up. But
Just do the tolerance.
cut tolerances and everything.
If you do the tolerance and then you do 60%, it should fix it. Yeah, sometimes on those you'll have to kind of play around with it to get them all, like you'll click one thing, get it set, then you'll click another button, and it'll reset them all back to where they were, and you gotta go back to it.
Yeah, I think if you do these two, the main ones, 0.005 and 60, it all matches pretty good.
Yeah, usually it'll all match up. Sometimes you gotta
Okay, it talked about this multi-threading. That's just how fast your PC is. So if you're doing it on your laptop and you didn't have that enabled, it'd be a big deal. But I noticed ours is enabled, so I didn't worry about that. All right, so now we're going. Do we have to check mark there? Oh yeah. So now we got to hit coolant. We want to turn the coolant on. So the coolant button over here, and turn the flood on, so it's throwing liquid on that tool. Okay. And then we're hit check mark. We're done with that. Okay. Now it'll sit here for a while, especially more people do it. It's saying it's not done, but it's calculating it all right now. So you got to give it a minute. Eventually it'll come out of it. I hope. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all the machining. So all those every single little line arc you see in there is a G code. So you can imagine there's an insane amount when you're trying to dish out of like a little die or something like that. It gets crazy. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so that was the rough. So that's the rough cutting. Okay, and you could basically go through this in virtual see it and everything like that. But since we're kind of out of time, we're going to basically finish this off. So let's do save it before we go any farther. Okay, so hit save. Okay. All right, now we're going to do the finish cutting, and then we're going to do the virtual and the CNC file, and we should be done. Okay, so the finish is buried down there. So go back to the toolpath tab if you're not there. All right, and in the tools, if you hit you guys might have to hit a drop down to get to the finishing. Okay, let me look how it is on a full screen here. Yeah, you have to do that big drop down arrow, okay? We want the one that says hybrid. Okay. I'm gonna cancel out of that. Go back to the shrunk screen here real quick. Okay, so this is going to be more of the same here again. Switch it back. Make sure it's at 0, which it is on the floor stock and wall stock. We want to take everything off on this finishing step. Hit the, I don't want to go too fast. I'll get in trouble here. So we want to hit the arrow at the bottom right of the machine geometry again, okay? That arrow, we're going to tell it basically what we're all going to do here again. Hit the top half of that little circle thing on the bottom, right? The second one up for the select all advanced. Okay, and I think we're picking everything again. Yeah, so we're going to basically hit the check mark at the bottom of the user interface and then a check mark again at the on the screen. Okay, so it selects everything. Okay, now it only selects the part we drew. It isn't selecting those machining buttons. Okay. All right, so we've got that done. Okay, now we go over to our containment boundary again. So go to toolpath control. Yep. And that little button up here that says boundaries, hit that little arrow. Okay. And we want C-plane again. We are doing a full chain just like it shows. Okay, and we're trying to pick the same spot we picked a while ago. Okay, and get that arrow all the way around it. Just like that, okay? And hit the check mark down there on the user interface. Yep, same little line we picked a while ago. There you go. Hit the check mark. Everybody good? Okay, so now we're basically picking stuff like it shows here. So the only thing it's having is changes. Well, mine's even on that. It's stuck to center already, which should be good. Make sure yours is on center. We're not doing it on the outside of this one. For the tool, we're just going to go through and pick it because the filter doesn't work half time anyway. So go down to tool, okay? And this one we want a 1/2 inch ball, okay? So double click on click on single, select library tool, okay? And find 1/2 inch ball. Should only be one. Find where it says a bunch of ball tools down there. I expanded my name so I could see a little bit better. There's 1/2 inch ball. It's number 311. There's only one size because it's a ball end mill. So 311. Double click on it. Okay. All right, and let's change our speeds again. So it wants us to use a 15 on our feed rate. It wants us to use 15 on our plunge rate. Those are all how much it's cutting. So rapid retract is already on. Wants to go out there at 50, so 50 on a rapid retract. And 2,500 on our RPM. Pretty standard stuff there. Next page. Okay, so now we do the cutting parameters. Okay, and it's wanting us to change the step down, so it's going to be really fine. It wants us to. Caliper?
Yeah. There's one in my office. My door's open.
Everybody good? Okay, so we're on cut parameters if you haven't gone to that yet on the left, okay? And we're changing all those things. So we want a step down of just 10,000, so 0.01. The limiting angle, I guess, is 45 degrees there, or 45. Change that 3D step over to 0.2. Okay. Our percent of tool diameter that's going to keep the tool down within 20% instead of 100%. For our 3D passes from automatics, which are the closed offsets. Okay. All right, so we've got all those done, I think. Nothing too fancy there. Okay, the rest of these, I don't know if we changed too much. Go to transitions. That's fine. Mine it is anyway. The angle's 10. Go to steep and shallow. And nothing's clicked there. Mine's all fine there. Linking parameters, you will have to change some stuff in there probably. Well, maybe not. Nope, it's all good. It's 1 inch above and full vertical retract. Don't have to change.
Mine's 6.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I hit it to make it 1. Now we go to arc filter tolerance. Probably some things in there we've got to change. 0.1. So on our cut tolerance, they want that to be 33%. And then go down here and pick on the line arc filtering settings. They want us to click smooth settings. Okay, and I got to change it to 33 again, even though I just did it. These, I remember, you have to punch back and forth a bunch to get to work. If they're close, they're fine. Like mine says 32.6 and 34.3, close enough. Okay, it's rounding right anyway. Yeah, I just changed this. To change the last one, and it'll probably be fine. So if you change that one to 34, just pick in there and type in the keys. You gotta make sure you have everything clicked below it. Yeah, so make sure you have smooth settings and line arc settings first. Okay. And then again, we want to create arcs in every direction. So X, Y, X, Z, Y, Z. And for our minimum arc radius, it wants us to use way less, so 0.1 instead of 5,000. So that's probably to make it so it actually runs a little faster. So definitely make sure you change the minimum arc radius to 0.1, okay? And we're about done with this. Once you get that done, hit the check mark at the bottom. Oh, we got to turn the coolant on, don't we? Yeah, turn the coolant on. We're not really running this, so it's not a real big deal, but it's always a good idea to turn the coolant on. And then hit check mark. Okay. It'll take a while to run it up. I'm not going to look through 200,000 lines of code. Make sure you turn the coolant on. I'll just look at the picture. Okay, should show up like that eventually. All right, I think we're ready to verify this thing. Okay, so I'm on page, looks like 68 now. All right, so the only thing we got left to do is we got to verify this, and we have to, which is just basically a quick video of virtual machining, and then we're going to run the G code of it. Okay, so go to verify button right here. Let's run the G code first, so you got that file in case it crashes, and let's save first. So hit save, okay, and make sure it saves, okay, yes. And then I'm gonna skip a page here and go to writing the G code, just to make sure that in case it crashes on the video. All right, so to make the G code, it's just G1. All right, so you might have to pick the G button there, okay. And I don't think there's anything fancy here. It's just going to write the file. Yeah, just hit the G1 button. And then in the browser area there. And hit the check mark. Auto operations. Oh, hit no. You got to select all operations first. I messed up. So hit cancel there. Okay. So we got to do just got to select all the operations for it to do it. So one of these buttons is the top left, I think. Yeah, top left button in the toolpath. Pick that. It says select all operations. Now you can see both operations are selected. Then hit the G1 button again, and then hit the check mark. And then make sure it's saving in the right place. Mine's saving in the wrong place. Yours probably is too. So make sure it's saving to your U drive. There we go. And it's saving as .nc file, so that's going to be your G code. Hit save. Now it's going to open Code Expert, probably, with the code in there. Okay, and you can see how many lines this is. Let's see how many lines this thing is. So this code was 14,325 long, or 326 lines long. So aren't you glad we didn't write that in this class? Okay, so let's do the virtual machine. you have to go through it. It's impossible to guess where it's at in there. You can maybe go see if you missed something. All right, let's do the virtual machine and then we're done here, guys. So I'm gonna back up here to the page 68. I think it was on.
So it's closed out and we can save it or anything?
Yeah, you can leave it open. Just go over to the right screen. It doesn't make any difference. It already saved before it generated it, so it should be saved right now on your U drive. So you got to turn that in. So I just minimized it in case it didn't. All right, so we're going to verify. We're going to do the virtual machine here. So that is this icon between the two squiggly ones. It says verify select operation. So of course you want to make sure both are selected again, like mine are here, which they should be because we just ran the G code, and pick the verify button. Okay. Now this is just like a video tape recorder, basically. Okay, nothing too fancy here. We've got to set a couple things in here. Go to. Let's see what it tells us to do here. I'm going to shrink my screen down so maybe I can read it. Okay, fit, don't care. Select all. Toolpath managers. Okay, so we want to see the tool and the stock. All that's already on there, I think, by default. Double check here. Yep, that's all fine. Okay, so we want to go to the Verify tab and pick Color Loop, okay, so that it changes colors as we go. I think that's really all we got to do. And then speed it up, because how fast did they run this thing? So we go to the Verify group and pick the Color Loop in the top left, okay? That way it'll change colors as it goes. And then you probably want to put on pretty fast to start out with, so in case it goes too slow. So I'm going about 3/4 of the way over. So I'm kind of guessing, and I'm going to hit play here. So it does a rough cut first, as you can see, and then it does a finish cut. And everything looked real good. So if yours looks like that, you got it. Perfect. Okay, so save it and turn in both files. And I'm going to pause the video. So exit out of the video, turn in the .nc file and the MasterCAM file.